Good evening, welcome to episode 36 of the Brew Gooders, the League of Beer and Comics. Tonight we are reviewing 4 comics and 2 beers.
We are indeed. So, first comic up, Woodland Creatures.
I've got The Other Side, and our first beer is
Gaelic Rock from the Brew Shed.
And I've got Richard Mooney's Daughter of Titan.
Okay. And also coming up from me is House of Sweets, just new released this week. And our last beer,
which we're opened and drinking,
is Kokomo from Beath Brewing.
So yeah, both our beers are locals, and I think our comics are relatively local as well.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
So we're drinking Kokomo, which I picked up from the Premier Corner Shop in Crossford, which is a tiny Crossgates, which is a tiny village in Fife, but they've got a surprisingly amazing craft beer shelf.
Indeed they do.
So I went and just grabbed what I could. They had Inner Bay there, and they had a couple of Tiny Rebel and some sort of bigger breweries like Beath and Brew Shed. So this is Kokomo's a coconut porter. Really strong coconut in the nose.
Yeah, comes through in the flavour as well. I think it deepens as it the longer it goes. It's kind of slight sweetness about it, but also a wee bit of bitterness in there.
We've seen that earlier.
Itself.
It's a 5.5%, so kind of middle of the road in terms of alcohol.
Not a strong porter.
Not a strong porter, but it's not as light as we've reviewed porters before, which have been about 3 or 4%, and that feels like it's down there rather than.
It does, yeah, and I think it's maybe just the coconutty sweetness.
Yeah,
it's kind of masking that a little bit, but it's good.
They're really nice.
Nice flavour.
Absolutely. Beath Brewing from Cowden Beath, which is one of the breweries that are up for Beer of the Year at the Camera Real Ale.
Which is in Glenrothes.
Yes.
When is it?
April. I'll put details up closer to the time. Yeah.
Well, you would know.
I'm excited because I'm judging at it.
He's going to be a judge.
Our first invite to a beer festival as dignitaries. Is that a thing? Is that the dignitaries?
Do we have dignitaries at beer festivals? I don't know.
I'm going to say yes because it
makes
me feel for them.
Yeah.
Right, so Woodland Creatures is our first comic.
Yeah, I got a little mention on our previous podcast, when I went to the Edinburgh Comic Art Festival back in like August or something it was.
Certainly did.
And we had a little chat with Alan McLeod, who kind of has been promoting the comic at lots of comic cons. Anyway,
I follow them on Instagram, and it's a well.
For those of you on video, here we are with the cover. So we backed this on Kickstarter quite some time ago. It's taken a little while to come out, but it is very long. It's, I don't know how many pages, 60 odd pages long maybe.
Really?
It's certainly a long comic. Really awesome black and white artwork. I'll just give you a little sneaky look at some of that artwork now.
The artwork is incredible.
Yeah, very good quality.
When we were talking about this earlier, I didn't realise at first. I think Woodland Creatures is sold really strongly in that cover. The cover's stunning, and even if you Google it, it's quite high profile. I think I was slightly disappointed at first when I thought, oh, it's in black and white, because the colour palette on the cover is so nice. That I love the purple, for example. But from just having that little glance inside, that disappointment or that wee bubble of disappointment that might be coming up has actually totally dissipated. It's nice.
Yeah, so we've I've seen Christina Roswell, who's the writer creator of this. At lots of Comic Cons recently. They're really doing the rounds. I can't remember where they're off to this week, but somewhere. Oh, it's the London Film and Comic Con maybe. That's one this weekend.
Yeah,
so
totally.
it could be there. The artist is Thomas Ira, who's also done some other comics in the past, and yeah, very awesome artwork. But you want to know a wee bit about the story. So it kind of is a werewolf story, but not quite. Not in the how we kind of. Not your run of the mill, guy turns into wolf or wolfman type of lycanthrope at all. So it follows the story follows these two characters on the front, Chris and Calliope, who are lycanthropes, but I don't think, from what I see in this volume 1, that they actually turn physically into
into like a werewolf creature.
Into a werewolf type creature. But what they do have like exceptional strength, and agility, and also bloodlust for certain. But they also have this ability to take over or see through the minds of these sort of special wolves, whose names I forget. Akora wolves. Anyway, I looked it up because I thought, I don't think this is something that they've completely made up, and it's not. It's a type of wolf from Inuit, Eskimos and culture. So it's a term that's used in Greenland and Alaska,
so
North
American,
Canada. And in particular in Greenland, it refers to a mythical wolf. So anyway, they're able to take over these wolves that follow them around like dogs, and they become effectively that wolf while their body becomes inert.
Okay.
Which is quite interesting.
Yes, that's great.
So it's really a different take on the whole werewolf thing. But what's actually happening in the story is interesting as well, because it seems that the general populace of the world are unaware of werewolves, lycanthropes. However, the United Nations is. And there's a United Nations meeting. And Chris, one of the main characters, is in the US Army. And he's brought along as the sort of special advisor, counsellor to this UN meeting. And they want to, the UN is worried about lycanthropes, their danger to society, and they put forward a kind of an idea that they would like to make them all join the military.
Okay. Just as a control mechanism.
Yeah, as a kind of control mechanism. And of course, you can understand them not wanting to all join the military, just as anybody wouldn't want to join the military.
Accords and that.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the story kind of goes. However, the sort of negotiations are kind of, I don't know, they don't go well. Mainly down to Calliope, who is a bit, headstrong. Okay. And she gets into a bit of a bust up with another lycanthrope while this meeting is going on. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil the story. That's kind of the nice setup for the. Obviously, it's going to be a longer series. Yeah. This is volume 1, and by no means is the story here finished in this long volume. But that's the setup. Is that UN are trying to control lycanthropes.
Awesome.
And they're going to fight back against it, I guess. But really good, very interesting start to the story. Awesome artwork.
And you're able to pick this up, aren't you? Like if you go to, when you go to conventions? I've seen Woodland Creatures stall, and it is just kind of, it was at that moment just kind of showing prints, wasn't it?
Yeah, up until recently, because they only got them the book printed just recently. And what was the last Comic Con that was on? Capital Sci-Fi Con.
They were there.
I think it was the first time that they actually had copies of the book for sale. But prior to that, they had kind of like preview copies and prints and things. So they've got a really nice setup for their stall. It's all beautifully colour coordinated. They've got some vines and things, so it looks like woodland. It's really quite awesome. So yeah. that's Woodland Creatures.
Awesome.
Check it out. I really like it. I can't wait for the next volume to come out, so I can see the rest of the story.
Any idea about how far on they are with that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
That's what's quite interesting about indie comics. Is you are left.
You can be waiting, a year more sometimes for the next issue.
And there's some folk that seem to just be able to knock out things like.
Yeah, and other people can just
Mm-hmm.
throw out chapters every odd month, but so don't know.
Amazing.
But
Cool.
that good stuff. Check it out. Woodland Creatures comic. Find them on Facebook, Twitter, etc.
Awesome. When we were at Capital Sci-Fi Con, we were chatting to the lad from Pratt Comics. I apologise for my voice. It's annoying me, so it must be annoying you. Pratt Comics were at Capital Sci-Fi Con, and me and Colin sat chatting to the lad for a wee while. His name's Chow. Chow and Kathy Martin, who run Pratt Comics, and I think they sort of specialise in anthologies and kind of joke comics. And they had a number of these on the stall, and Chow was sound enough to start giving us a bunch to have a look at and review. So I have read most of them. I'm working my way through because he did give us so much. But I did enjoy tremendously The Other Side. I really like anthology comics. You've given me. I know. I'm excited. We have done. Sorry, for those that are listening audio wise, Colin's just stuck the next beer under my nose to just put me off a wee bit. Colin's given me a couple of anthology comics, and I have reviewed a number of them in the past. Terrier Comics have got a really good H.P. Lovecraft kind of themed one, for example. But The Other Side is kind of sci-fi, so it's a combination of stories that Chow has been putting together from, as he explains in the introduction, 1986 onwards. The front cover was done in 1983, and the back cover was only done a couple of weeks before printing, which was in 2016, I believe. It's just full of poems and 4 to sort of 10-page shorts about different stories, and they go really well. There's a guy that creates transportation technology that uses to try and prove that the world is hollow and has like an inside world.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes there, and spoilers, it's not very nice. There's a really interesting story called One Good Turn about a guy who is going to beat the record for the fastest travel on foot to the South Pole.
Mm-hmm.
But on the way there, he stumbles across a guy that's stuck down a hole, and he's like, "Oh, I could rescue this guy, but it'll ruin my chances to get to the." And then it's a bit Twilight Zone-y, and there's a nice wee twist. So there's loads of these things. I'd strongly recommend it. It does say on the front page quite refreshingly that it's adults only. There's a lot of nudity in this. There's a whole story that's got a naked lady and is that a fawn? Is that what they're called? These guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, which is quite interesting. It's just weird. Like I'll show Colin some of the pictures. I can't show the camera because there's naked ladies, but it's quite Colin's bemused face. It was quite incredible. About a young woman who spent her entire life in a dreamlike utopian woodland creaturey world, who wants to go back to the old world of man, and they have a moral debate about what that looks like, and they're just really good. I really like anthologies. I reread the one that you did a couple of weeks ago and really enjoyed it, Life Support.
Oh yeah, the sci-fi one.
Yeah,
for Chaz.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. It's just a really good way for those that aren't sure. Yeah, an anthology comic. It's like
that was good because we just had lots of different writers and artists all collaborating. We had Streff, Stephen White. We had stuff from Colin Matheson from Accent UK. there was even a story that was written at the writing class that I used to go to. One of the stories was written by one of my classmates on the course.
That's well cool.
And then I got an artist, teamed him up with an artist to do the artwork for that, which was pretty cool.
That's
and then we
cool.
also had Michael Phelps' story,
course,
which was a runner up, I think, for the Dundee Comics Prize 2 or 3 years ago.
Was that his what was that?
One about Mars. About, the Martians, after the Martian invasion of Earth, failed invasion of Earth, they decide to invade Venus.
Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. But if you're interested in checking this specific anthology out by Pratt Comics, it is available at prattcomics.webs.com. Pratt's got 2 T's in it. It's called The Other Side. Just really recommend it. It's £3.95 on the front cover. And it was just good. There's some really interesting stuff in there. I don't want to keep going on about it because I would start I start giving you punchlines to scripts, and that's what's really cool about the anthology comic is you've got maybe 8 pages, and so your story's wrapped up quite quickly, and there's usually quite a nice wee twist in the end. So I'm going to rest my voice for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I hope so. I think you should. So I'll tell you what, I'll talk about this next comic, and you need to check out this beer from Brew Shed.
Oh, Brew Shed.
Okay, so my next comic is House of Sweets. So this is another one I backed on Kickstarter. I tend to get back Kickstarter books for the digital version rather than the print version, and it's purely because print comics take up so much space, and the amount of comics that I've got is just taking over my house and my shed and things.
You get them a bit quicker as well, don't you?
Yeah, you tend to get them just immediately, and I also see it as a bit of a benefit to the people who make them, because they're getting 100% of the money, apart from the small amount that Kickstarter take, and they're not having to spend any money on the printing, and they're not having to post it as well. So whatever, although you're getting a bit cheaper, 2 or 3 quid cheaper, it also means that the full profit is going to the creators as well.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, so digital version of House of Sweets. So this is from fairly local Falkirk based writer Fraser Campbell. Fraser is probably better known for his Alex Automatic series.
Yeah, of course.
60s spy themed kind of surreal comic book series, which is, I think the next episode's coming out fairly soon.
I think it's on Comic House. I read it on Comic House last year. The first one, yeah.
And occasionally dips his toes into odd horror kind of books, which is what House of Sweets is.
Yeah.
So he's teamed up with artist Ian Laurie. Ian Laurie did And Emily Was Gone with John Lees a few years ago. Incredibly popular book set in the Orkneys. So I've always liked Ian's artwork. It's very creepy, and he comes up with bizarre sort of characters, and you'll see some of them here sitting around the dinner table in this image here. So what's this about? Well, it seems like a little bit of a mashup of kind of maybe popular horror movies.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple, Hans and Retha, heading into the woods. They're looking at their map and they're trying to find somewhere, obviously. And then they come across the place that they're looking for, this little cabin in the woods, where it seems that Hans is planning to write a novel, and he's going to be working there for some time. But there seems to be a bit of background to this little cabin as well, in that Hans and Rita seem to have lived there in the past as kids. It seems their families lived there, so we've got some flashback sequences here to them playing in the woods as kids, and they like to dress up and wear masks, which I think maybe makes it slightly unsettling, because they're kind of being different characters. Anyway, things start to go a bit odd in the House of Sweets, and the sweets come from one of the characters in the past who used to leave sweets for the kids.
Okay.
So it's got a little sort of Hansel and Gretel kind of thing, you know.
Just a sort of general sort of grim unsettlement.
And the unsettlingness kind of starts to grow. It's a little bit like The Shining as well. You know, the writer, you know, starting to work away, but as he's working, you know, his mental health is being, you know, it's coming to the fore. So the writer starts writing a story, but then suddenly this kind of script comes from nowhere that he doesn't think he wrote. Meanwhile, Retha, who is his girlfriend, not sure, friend anyway from the past, seems to be getting kind of taken over by the woods.
It reminds me of, you were saying, like reflective of other like sort of horror comics and stuff.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Alice in Wonderland kind of feel here as well.
I see feeling a bit Evil Dead there as well.
Evil Dead, with the
cabin and the trees.
Absolutely. And then just things kind of sort of spiral into madness a little bit. With them, both of them heading out to the woods.
It looks amazing.
And you know, elements from their past kind of feeding into the present and things. Anyway, I'm not going to go spoil it too much. Quite an unsettling little story.
Yeah, it looks good.
And Ian's artwork just adds to that unsettlement as well. I loved his artwork on And Emily Was Gone, and that is in itself is a really good folklore type story.
The changing colour palettes and stuff like that, and just
it switches back and forth in time, and the change in colour palette to a sort of purpley kind of gives it is going back in time, and then as the kind of two times seem to almost mashed together at one point as well. So interesting wee story. Like I say, quite unsettling. Another lovely bit of work from Fraser Campbell and lovely artwork.
So it was funded through Kickstarter then?
Yes it was, and only just came out this week actually. So people will start to get their copies in their inboxes or through the post this week.
Maybe see it over conventions and stuff over the summer as well.
I'm sure we will. If the guys are doing conventions. I know Ian doesn't do many conventions. And Fraser was a bit unwell last year, so he didn't get out to many conventions. But hopefully he's on the road to recovery now.
So we Colin opened up Gaelic Rock, which is the American Pale Ale from Brew Shed in Lime Kilns, a brewery that we both love and a brewery that we've visited. So this is we've both been kind of smirking and smiling through the last 5-10 minutes because this is actually really lovely. It's an American Pale Ale. It's using Columbus, Ataman and Amarillo hops. Amarillo anyway. But just a really strong smell to it. It's kind of grapey is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I was thinking definitely a fruity. Slightly grapefruit. Slightly grape. I was thinking kiwi fruit a little bit.
Oh yeah, totally.
I thought kiwi fruit was what I was getting. I was smelling it thinking, that's great. What is it? And it reminds me of something, but I think it's kiwi.
I could sit with my nose in that all night. It's lovely.
More than grape, it's kiwi fruit, which is pretty unusual. You know, a lot of passion fruit and grapefruit flavoured and beers, but and it stays with the flavour. It's not just in the nose.
It's quite exotic, isn't it? Like it tastes like it should come from here.
Fizzy.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah, I really like it.
It's quite light. You could drink that 4.2. So
you know the Topaz passion fruit beer.
It's got a Topaz vibe.
It's got a vibe of it, and that was one of our favourite beers of last year.
Well done, Brew Shed.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is. Stephen's done a good job with this.
This shouldn't be as good as it is. I don't know why I said that, but I just wasn't. I grabbed this off.
I think it's really good.
I grabbed this off the shelf in a corner shop in Crossgates, which I believe is like currently is one of the only places that stocks Brew Shed because it's quite an exclusive beer. Obviously, you could probably go down to if you went down to the Ship in Lime Kilns on the right week, you would maybe get this as well. I've got Steve on Twitter, and obviously we bounce back and forth. We talk to him sometimes. I'm hoping to see him again quite soon. And my understanding is that Brew Shed are getting a wee bit bigger. They're going to try and just brew a wee bit more than they currently are, which is really exciting. it's just kind of reflective of how popular Brew Shed is getting, I imagine, if he feels the need to expand.
Yeah, that's great.
It's good.
If he's going to be putting out beers like that.
So yeah, my second comic was Daughter of Titan by Richard Mooney and Vivian Truong. We're currently on the Kickstarter for issue 3 of Daughter of Titan, but yeah, I'm reviewing issue 1, and I'm currently reading issue 2 and enjoying that as well. So yeah, Daughter of Titan's about a young lady called Elena who is seemingly deliberately flunking quite a high profile robotics course at university, quite a prestigious university I understand. There is kind of a nods to the fact that in this city that they live in, there used to be a kind of superhero character called Titan, who is almost like an urban legend. They're not sure whether he is or what he is, and there's also like the use of augmentics, like that when you augment something.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's kind of prevalent in this sort of futuristic society where people have like robotics. It's not totally super futuristic, but it's enough that people have like robotic alternatives to certain parts of their life. There's a situation that Lena finds herself in where she deliberately puts herself in a situation because she's trying to escape the house, and having annoyed a group of street punks, they approach her because they're angry at the way she spoke to him earlier, and she fights off a mugging, but realises that she's scarily adept at fighting off muggins, and punches a guy and knocks him out and that kind of stuff. So things get like scarier and scarier, and then without going very much further, Elena then goes into this, finds herself in this super world where actually she might be a superhero, but
I think the clue might be in the title.
Daughter of Titan, yeah.
Yeah, no spoilers.
No spoilers.
Not from the title.
But there's like robotic suits, and there's police officers who are called like, they've got a really cool name, and its name escapes me. I can't remember. But there's alternative universes and weird stuff that seems to be going on. I say I've only finished issue 1. I really particularly liked Vivian Truong's art style. Really, really liked it. Moves the story on at an amazing pace, deals with action really well. Some really lovely sound effects, like thunk. I love the idea of a guy's face smashing off the ground and it makes a thunk noise. The only thing that I thought the writing's really good and it pulls you through, and I'm really looking forward to issue 2, and I backed issue 3 as well, so absolutely looking forward to reading more of Richard's work. The only thing that I think let me down, just again judging, and we talked about this before we aired because it's not the first time this has happened, but I will put up that's the front cover for our viewers. I'll put up a clearer picture as well on the edit, but there's quite a bit of swearing in this book, and on the face of it, and particularly with Vivian's art style, I certainly got the impression that until swearing started to become prevalent in the story, particularly in the mugging scene actually, until the mugging scene, this was a young adult, possibly like early teens, kind of focused book, and then all of a sudden it became something a wee bit more spicier very quickly, and I wasn't expecting that. But yeah, fantastic artwork, really engaging story, it moves at a really good pace. I just found myself coming out of a wee bit with some swearing, but yeah, it's still a pretty awesome wee story, and I think folks should check out Daughter of Titan 1 and 2 are available, and I know that Kickstarter have, on the Kickstarter campaign, I might have got this wrong, but I'm sure I saw this morning, if you pledge at one of the higher tiers, you get issues 1 and 2 as part of your so you should totally check that out. They're very close to being funded at time of recording, with a week left to go, so you should totally check that out. Colin, what have you got for us?
I'm just going to tell you this because while we've been kind of chatting and reviewing, Ian Laurie, the artist on the House of Sweets that we just reviewed, he's just posted on Twitter, and apparently last night Frankie Boyle's tour of Scotland. Last episode last night, and I haven't caught up with any of these yet, featured Grant Morrison, Scotland's other bald comic writer.
Absolutely.
He notoriously, doesn't do lots of interviews or turn up at Comic Cons and things. So interesting to see what he's saying on the show. Apparently they talk about nuclear war and Cthulhu.
I have watched the first episode of Frankie Boyle's Tour of Scotland, and he goes to Oban, and it's quite fabulous. But I think you have to be a Frankie Boyle fan to follow it, because it's kind of crude, often macabre kind of humour.
Imagine, yes.
As he tours as two Scottishmen's areas of Scotland that I'm familiar with a really kind of shrewd eye to detail that is obviously quite prevalent in his humour anyway. But yeah, I think that's us. Is that right? We've done
the videos, we've done the comics.
Thank you for joining us.
Episode
36.
36. You've been doing that long. Okay, nearly a year actually.
Yeah, we've had a couple of off weeks, so we're not running week for week, but we are close to having been doing this for a year, which has been fantastic. On Friday, the 6th of March, so it depends when you're listening to this or watching this, we are hosting a pub crawl in Dunfermline that we would love folk to join us on. So please check out our Facebook page at the Brew Brothers and follow that and see if that's something you'd be interested in.
We'll probably be going along to the Caledonian Craft Beer Merchant, probably kicking off there.
We're booked in there,
start off there. What sort of time you would think?
I've got it booked it from 5.
All right.
Because I'm childless.
Straight from work.
Yeah, I intend to, man. I intend to.
Boy, that's it. I'll be there
also,
straight from work in my work clothes.
Yeah, I might just.
Which is just my normal clothes.
We've got a TARDIS kind of cupboard which we all get changed in at work, so I intend to do that. Also, I don't know where else we've intended to go yet. I have emailed a couple of pubs. I did get a friend who is a waitress in the Juniper Wine Cafe.
Oh yeah.
They have Innerby. Right. She's messaged asking if we intend to come and visit her.
Oh, cool.
Which I thought was quite cool.
The commercial's reopened.
Commercial's reopened.
In Dunfermline, so we'll probably pop in there.
And I know places like the Old Inn and what was that, like Peaches do. They've got some of the new Brewdog stuff. So
hey, there's always a range of stuff in the Weatherspoons as well.
Yeah, so
so
we'll just see where we go.
For us to go, but we're kicking off at Caledonian Craft Beer Merchant sometime after 5.
Yeah, so just let us know if you're coming, because we need to make sure we can fit you in. After that, though, we can fit you in anywhere we decide to go, but we just need to know if you want to come, because it'll be amazing. And it's just particularly if you don't know Dunfermline that well, we can come and find you and stuff. Thank you for joining us, and we'll probably be talking about that next week, I think.
I guess so.
Yeah, and absolutely. If you want to get in touch with us, just at the Brew Brothers. It's here if you're watching the video, because I've learned how to do that. Right, thank you so much.